Hello, everybody. What's going on? I know I said I was going to go live here with Sophie B, but we had some scheduling challenges. But I wanted to come on here and talk about a couple of different things. I'm actually streaming into a couple of different Facebook groups right now, as well as on my YouTube. So I can't see anyone's comments because we're doing this from StreamYard. So if you're watching, I love you. Thank you. Let me know that you're watching live or if you're watching the replay. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what to expect next week at the boot camp. And one of my very favorite subjects of all time. And that is the question that I get asked more than anything else. And a little shout out to Lindsay Hack. We were in a We Meet room earlier today, and she's like, well, but where are these clients? Let's talk about that. Like, where are these high ticket buyers? How do I find these premium buyers? And I want to tell you guys a little bit of a story about me from a few years ago. So, as you all know, I'm a sales coach. I was in medical sales for over 22 years as a top performer. Little claim to fame is I never did it the way they told me to. It was always a very much more of an authentic, feminine-based sales process. But that's beside the point. The point is I came in here and I'm trying to sell my thing and I'm getting some clients and I'm focused on lower ticket things. And all of a sudden, I learned more about the high ticket space and the descension model, which we're going to talk about in the boot camp. And it all made sense to me. I was like, why am I building all these funnels? Why am I trying to build my email list and give out all these freebies and like do all of this tech and scatter myself all over the place when what I really want to do is work closely with people and transform lives and help them, not just with like learning how to have sales conversations or, how to get more clients, but also like what's going on in here, like what's going on up here. And, I really want to I had a lot of different certifications and trainings because I was playing in the quantum and reality creation and all of that while I was still in the sales world. And, I love helping people with that. Like any of my clients listening, just say, yes, Jana's a freak about, the woo and those pieces as well. And so it occurred to me that I didn't want to do, these like digital products. I didn't want to have freebies necessarily and may or may not actually ever connect with any of these people. And so when I switched to the descension model, which we're going to talk about in the boot camp, I thought immediately, just like Lindsay was asking, like, I have to change up my audience because I've been trying to sell this $500 thing or this $200 thing, or maybe even like a $1,500 thing. And these aren't the same people that are going to buy the other things that I want to try to really lean into more of this VIP type coaching model. And here's the kicker. My audience didn't change at all. Did you know that 2 to 3% of your audience is always going to want to buy high ticket? I'm one of those. Maybe you are too. Maybe you've got digital products for days on your laptop that you've never even opened, right? And so if you're like me, you realize clearly that is not the type of support I need. I don't need more information. I need transformation. And in order for me to get that, I need to work with people at a higher level. And so when people realize that, they become high ticket buyers and they're not available for, just more information. That's what we got ChatGPT for, right? And so I say all of that because there's high ticket buyers in your audience right now. How do I know? Because whenever I tell this to any of my new clients, they go, no way, Jana, not possible. And then lo and behold, we teach them what we're going to be talking about in the boot camp next week in VIP, mind you, and they get clients because they are there. Premium buyers, high ticket buyers, people that understand what it is to invest and what our ROI is. They are in every audience. Okay. There will always be people that can afford it, and there will always be people that can't afford it. And so the kicker is, even I didn't change my audience. I didn't grow my audience. I went from spotty 4-figure months to six-figure launches. And it had everything to do with the descension model that we're going to be teaching next week in the boot camp and what we're teaching in VIP, which is all about who you're speaking to. I was using a low ticket sales process trying to attract high ticket buyers, and it wasn't working, and it was extremely difficult. And so instead, when I realized, and this was something that Sophie even helped me with, that I needed a high ticket buying sales process to attract high ticket buyers, everything changed. Okay. And so that begins with your offer. I used to think a high ticket offer was, I'm going to do 6 months of coaching with you on sales and I'm going to help you grow your business. We're going to meet once a week and you'll have access to Voxer. The end. That is not a high ticket offer. That is logistics. And so, what we find one of the biggest gaps and why we're teaching and focusing so heavily in the boot camp next week on creating a high ticket offer that sells is most people don't know how to do that. They're either putting together coaching calls and calling that the offer, or they're talking all about their modality, all about their processes, having like full blown techno babble, PhD conversations about what they do and how they do it. And the ideal client, the client's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I just want to sleep better. I don't know what you're talking about. Inner child work. I just don't want to have anxiety anymore. And so there's this massive disconnect. And so getting that offer dialed in and validated for conversion is part one. And so next week in the boot camp, we're going to be going all into that piece so that you're very clear. You're clear on where you're taking them. You're clear on how to walk them through this process. And then inside VIP, we're going to talk about, okay, how do we put a high ticket sales process in place? How do I attract more high ticket buyers that are in my audience right now? And what does that look like? Because high ticket buyer language and low ticket buyer language are very different. We think differently, we move differently, we take action differently, we believe differently. And so you cannot expect, if the type of people you're getting onto calls is like, I can't afford it, or, maybe I want to do the low ticket thing, or they're not used to investing, you're not speaking that high ticket buyer language and you're not activating those people in your audience. And I can tell you, like I said, almost everybody that comes into our world is like, I don't know, Jana. I don't think I have that audience. And when we take them through this process, they find high ticket buyers. Now, let me be clear before I wrap up here. This doesn't mean you don't want to grow your audience at some point, right? But don't disrespect the audience you have. And if you can't convert people that are in your audience now, adding more leads to a broken sales process isn't going to fix it. So I hope you're going to join us for the Premium Buyer Bootcamp. Everything kicks off on Tuesday. So we're going to go for 3 days. And again, general is going to be all about how to create that high ticket offer that's easy to sell. So that's going to be the first, that's going to be a noon to 1 Eastern Standard Time each day next week. And then all of my VIPs are going to join us an hour earlier at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where we're going to really dig into the high ticket buyer language and really how to activate those people in your audience right now. Okay. So if this is you and you're like, oh, I'm drowning in the low ticket space. I don't have, there are not enough hours in the day. I'm trying to grow this massive audience and just, it's not working in the way that I want it to. Let us help you simplify this. Let us help you show you how you only actually need 10, 20 clients per year to have a 6-figure business. And with the right offer and knowing how to speak to the right people in your audience, you can start to grow it immediately. Then we can add more high ticket leads into the equation. So please join us. And if you have any questions, definitely leave it in the comments. And we will see you all next week. Bye for now.